Well, for as technologically advanced as this is, red is stop, green is go. So when we're recording, this should be green.
I agree.
All right, episode 21, Q&A, members only. There's a question that's not on here that I saw, and it is, will you talk about YouTube throttling you back on the lives? For the last, I don't know, week and a half when I've done a live, there's only been 9 people on. I'll go 10 minutes and there's literally 9 people online. And the guy's comment, I don't remember who commented it, but I've seen several people the last few times I've done a live on YouTube. After about 10 minutes, I'll stop. You're standing on this cord. Move this out of the way. Put that up over the top. So the last few times I've done a live, I've jumped off of there after about 10 minutes and went over to Facebook, and dozens of people jump on Facebook and they're like, dude, I knew you were live and couldn't even see it. I saw that you were live, couldn't click on it. I got onto your live and couldn't comment. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube. It's not just us. I've seen a few other people that's happening to also. Yesterday, last night, about midnight, I posted a post of just Brandel on a skateboard. It was 3 15-second clips. I put them into a reel. I got a notification for violence and inciting violence for that post on Instagram last night. I was able to review it, and they never said, hey, you're right. Hey, we fucked up. Just when I went to my page hours later, the post was back. So I don't know what the fuck's going on. But yeah, you're right.
I just don't like you.
There are people that I speak to on a regular basis, and I have to literally type their shit out when I go to send them a private message. They're on like the 3rd page. Like I message Austin all the time, and I have to go search for him. I'll have sent him a message this morning, go to send him a message this afternoon, and can't even find him in my messenger. Jeremy, who works here, he is always 3 pages deep for me to send him a message. They do not want us communicate. I don't know what the fuck it is. It makes no sense.
For me too, it has like when you send me something, it goes into 2 different inboxes sometimes. So like for no reason, I have 2 different inboxes with stuff for you.
And they said as we get closer to the election, you're going to see this start happening. Right now, I'm getting notifications of 3 videos at a time that they'll take down from YouTube from 2 years ago. And what they're violating community guidelines over the COVID stuff or whatever. And those are no longer the community guidelines. They are taking down posts based on guidelines from 2 years ago. And never mind that everything we were saying was correct and proven correct. And now they're still striking us for them. So it's just something we bear with. I question, like we've talked about using other platforms and stuff, but people are fucking lazy. Like, we'll make a post saying, hey, we're live with a click-through link. Dudes come on. I'll see, especially on Facebook, like I'll see 100 or so people come on, but they don't comment. I'm not going to walk around and just talk to my fucking self. Like, by the time I'm doing a live feed, I've been up and in the building for literally 16 hours most times. So I don't need to walk around my own shit with a camera. So it's up to the people to participate. Otherwise, we're just not going to do them. We don't get anything for them anymore.
This is preaching to the choir for this, but that's why it's important to have the memberships. That's why we have a $1 option, because you get a direct line to this channel.
And because everybody can afford $1.
Yeah.
Even the membership thing's burning out, though.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are doing a membership, and there's only 5-6 pages here.
Exactly.
It's just shit. I can just talk to the 5 people that I normally talk to on a daily basis and save 2 hours that I'm going to sit here in this chair. All right, we'll go. Episode 21, Derek Olson. I was going to ask a question that led to informative answers that all the members could benefit from, but that won't my question for tonight. I've been trying to watch the live stream. Oh, this is him. I've been trying to watch the live stream every day and nowhere be found until you're done with the live for the night. I enjoy hearing what you talk about on the live streams. I always learn something about how you can make yourself efficient at work. Could you just spend a couple minutes on this topic of live not being able to be found? There we go. We already did it. So
super duper shadow banned.
And if you want to, like, you hear a lot of people say that, right? I'm shadow banned. No, you're just fucking boring, and people don't seek your stuff out. They don't interact with it, right? Because you're not engaging, you're not asking questions and stuff. If you want to know if something's shadow banned, especially when you view their content often, go search their content. If you go search special operations equipment, it will not auto-populate. Even if you watch it every day, you go to it every day, and it will make you type out every single character in order to communicate or to find the channel. That's a solid indicator that you are really shadow banned.
Last night I was trying to show some people a panic prepper on our TV, and my YouTube isn't connected to my YouTube on the TV. So when I typed it in, nothing came up.
Yeah, it won't even find it.
Yeah, so I had to go to my account, find it that way, and stream it to the TV.
Yep. Yeah. Scott, what's up, man? Scott Hassen. In the spirit of Christmas, what would Christmas in the apocalypse look like at SOE? During the apocalypse, it would probably, I think it would be way more Christmassy, right? Because the people that we would be relying on, we would be closer together. We'd be working more together. We would not be off doing our own things. You would probably be at a place where you're creating things with your hands. So Christmas, I would guess, like for us, I mean, we have tons of socks stored, but I would guess you would be exchanging socks and hats and clothing and food, stuff like that.
I think it would be more towards like the traditional.
What Christmas was meant to be,
right? Yes.
Not commercialized.
Yes.
You'd be, eating a turkey that you grew most likely, or a ham that you had slaughtered or something like that. My guy Ethan works here, and he made me a hat. I don't even know where the idea came from, but they made me like a steampunk.
It's pretty badass.
Top hat. And the girls gave me a cane that has a skull on top with a sword inside it, and they gave me a monocle. And I remember saying, I've searched for a monocle, like an actual monocle in a antique store or oddities place, and you just don't see them. They just don't exist.
I think they're too delicate.
I think they're just sitting in grandma's box someplace, and when the grandkids inherited it, they just threw that shit away. It didn't mean anything. It went to a landfill somewhere. So they got me those. But talking to Ethan, it's badass. This hat, he made this whole thing from leather. It's got like a rigid wire rim in it. All the edging of the leather is red, and the hat is it's very, very cool. And then when that led to talking to, he's like, I want to make my own pair of shoes. And I'm like, well, how would you do that? And he's like, well, let me tell you, I know all about doing it. I go, you can buy Vibram soles. He's like, yep, I want to do them just from scratch. Be it because when society collapsed, he's like, number one, it's something he's interested in. There's a use for it. And he's like, it would make me useful. I would be valuable if I am able to be a cobbler. I'm like, absolutely. And if you're a cobbler, you could make hats and probably clothing and other things. And that led to when we were going to, we went to pick up straw yesterday. So he was riding with us. And I said something about, do you have smart wool socks? And he's like, no, I have a whole, in 2016, I started my whole clothing program. Mm-hmm. And he has 365 pairs of socks. And he wears his socks once per day, per year. And then they go into a bin. And when the bin's full, he launders them. And then they go into another bin. And he's like, I figure my socks will last me the rest of my life having 365 pairs of socks. And I said, that's a good idea. I like that idea. And I said, I have underwear, and I have a lot of underwear stored, but I have pulled brand new underwear out of packages, and the elastic in the underwear dry rots because of the rubber. And I said, I've noticed that my socks do not do that, at least my higher end socks, smart wool, darn tough socks, stuff like that. So that's a good idea. What would your underwear look like if you could not do the rubber banding in there, that elastic banding? Now, maybe you do a drawstring or something, but I mean, they were still doing vulcanizing and rubber and stuff even in the 1800s. We've just lost the knowledge on how to do that. It's there, we just don't know it, right? And then that led me to think this morning, actually, while I was in the shower, I was thinking about this whole conversation that I've had yesterday. And I was thinking, we so readily go to the internet to find everything, but if the time comes where we need these skills back again, the internet no longer exists and the books aren't there, right? If you don't have them, you're not going to have those books. So build a library. And I've been thinking, we've been building a library for a long time. I have file cabinets full, like legal size file cabinets full of publications, magazines, books, things like that. Like I have every copy of American Survival Guide that was ever published. I think I have every copy of Mother Earth News, which isn't what it used to be at all. It's just fucking liberals and been bought out by corporate virtue signaling bullshit.
Yeah,
But Mother Earth, not Mother Earth, Backwoods Home.
Backwoods Home. Yeah.
I have, and they have these anthologies. Now the anthologies are cool, but they're not all of the articles. I have every publication, and I looked through all the American Survival Guides so often that I could literally just know which article I was looking for by the cover because there was no internet. That's what we did all the time. So I have all those. Now, water could damage them, fire could destroy them, tornado could wipe them out, but we do have them. So as we see publications, especially older publications, because they've taken things away, the way we used to can, if you look at a canning book from even 20 years ago to now, it's changed. And then from when Grandma had it in the 50s and 60s, it's drastically changed. And then from the 1800s. So I think it's valuable to have those things and just have the conversation at least with yourself. Even if you're not going to execute and be able to build a pair of shoes, like Ethan was telling me how to build a pair of shoes with all leather and how to size it to your foot. And we do see cobbler stuff at all these antique stores. I just bought fucking 25 ceramic fists, well, they're hands, because they look creepy.
They're glove molds.
They're glove molds for making rubber gloves. They're oversized and then they'll shrink down. But that stuff is out there if you know what you're looking for. And to be able to have it and have that skill set. And I asked Ethan how long it took to build that hat, and he said months, I think. I think that's what he said.
No.
What did he say?
He said it took him 2 solid weekends.
So, but he would get better now. And it's just badass. Like, he built that with his hands, and it, like, that wasn't
Literally,
even on.
it's hand sewn with a needle and thread.
And it looks every bit as good as had I stitched it on a machine.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it's just very neat, like the things we don't think of. I know you asked about Christmas, but I think those are the things that would be exchanged, right?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it would definitely be more, we all come together, we're all going to gather, we're all going to share a meal, we're going to tell stories, we're going to be together.
Be warm around the fire.
Right, whereas on a normal day, you would be busy living. You'd be busy with animals or housekeeping or whatever.
You're going to
the case may
appreciate
be.
different things.
Yeah.
Like Austin buys his girls a Tiffany decoration every year. I remember my mother and my grandmother used to. It was very big. Christmas was very big for the aunts and my grandma and my mom when I was young. And we used to go to Presidio Nursery down by the airport, kind of. Well, it was down in, like, I don't remember where the fuck it was.
It was in San Diego.
In San Diego.
somewhere.
We used to hit all these because they were just beautifully decorated with Christmas lights. And it was a nursery, and they had these Christmas decorations. And every year, we would pick out a Christmas decoration. They would engrave your name on it with this engraver. And that's kind of lost. And I think that when society collapsed like that, how would you make a decoration, right? What would you do with your kids that would become a tradition as they grew up? And now, when we go look at Christmas decorations, I like very, like, rustic. I like cast iron little cast iron little reindeer, right? We bought a ton of those, or stainless steel, or just hand-tied red bows. Christmas lights, I like white Christmas lights, like just straight, bright white Christmas lights. What would that look like? You know, if you hand-sewed your stocking, I just think that's very neat, right? And I think it brings the family together and builds tradition. DJ Guzman, third question here. What are your top 4 things to consider for a homestead property? Water. So what's it supposed to be? It's access, water. I don't know. It's the permaculture stuff. But being here on the property and having this property now for 7 years, I think, a video popped up on YouTube the other morning from 7 years ago. And it was me and Lance and Colin, and I think Cody was there. And and I'm like, man, this video is really fucking long, but it was only 30 minutes long. So I watched it, and when we converted the YouTube channel from just my channel to a business channel, YouTube, for some reason, deleted every comment. And it does it. If you do this, if you start a channel, start it as a business channel if you ever want to monetize it or do anything with it. Because it deletes every comment you have made for the entire history of your channel to that date. So I have 2,000 some videos floating. I can't even find my own videos. YouTube shows them to me, but when I go into my channel, I can't fucking find my videos in my channel, a lot of them. So this video from 7 years ago, I went through and there was tons of dudes commenting, and I don't recognize any of them anymore. I know who some of them are. Something has happened where YouTube's not showing, or they've lost interest, or I've upset them, whatever, life happened, you know? Yeah. So I went through every one of those comments on there, and I think there was like 50 or 60 of them. And I just replied to them. I'm like, hey man, we're 7 years ahead now. How did that work out for you? Hey, thanks for being here. Are you aware that we do a video every day and we upload several videos? Hey, check out our new, and immediately a lot of guys replied to those comments. So they're there. That avenue's still there. YouTube's just not, they're not aware of it. He's like, we didn't even know. A dude said, man, I haven't seen any of your stuff for 5-6 years. I didn't even know you were still on the internet. So
I was just going to say, so I know on my YouTube account, like I don't post anything, but if I search little pink pigs, literally until I search something else, all I'm going to see is little pink pigs.
But the algorithm does not work when it comes to SOE.
I literally will not see anything else.
Yep.
And then if I go to the SOE YouTube page, the very first video they show me is divorce in prison. And I'm like,
and
I know that's not even the number one video. Why are you showing me that?
Our number one video is butthole. Yeah. The butthole tattoo. Our number two ranked video is paid for by haters. But what I was saying is, so I saw this old video pop up, and having been here for 7 years now, we still don't have a well, right? But we do have a ton of roof surface. I have 10,000 square foot of roof. So that all collects in the back pond. And I was just thinking, we're redoing a lot of the property up top. I've cross-divided a lot of the chicken runs, which were 50 feet wide by 70 feet. So I divided those into 3, and I took another 50 by 50 and divided it into 2. And I have some cribbed up rail ties we cut in half where there's a water tank, and that's kind of in the way. I'm moving stuff. We're going to add some more water collection there. But number one is water. And we have a lot of it. And we have a lot of water in tanks that was, out of the hose. It was chlorinated. There's no algae in it. And I could give a shit about algae anyways, but there's no bacteria in it. Water, access. There's one way in and out. Well, there's a couple ways in and out in this property, but there's a main access. So can you get to your property? If you had to go out the back of your property, could you do that? Food production, right? We have a lot of animals here. But we bring in a lot of feed every week. We are bringing feed in. Now, we don't have to. We could go 3 or 4 weeks, but I'm of the mind, like, what happens if something happens, right? So we're about to have ice. Not a problem. They tell us that every year. And we get ready for it, and we build all these straw igloos for the dogs and all kinds of shit. And you look out there, and the dogs are in the ice. We do it every year, and every year I'm like, I'm not doing this again. But I look at all these dumbasses on the internet. Bring your dogs in, the poor animals.
Oh, I saw one today, and it said, "Bring all of your animals in." And I was like, if you want my dirty ass dogs in your house, you just come on over.
They don't want to be inside, and a lot of people
they don't want to.
They take these rabbits and stuff, and they put these heaters and shit, and then their animals die.
Because they're too hot.
Because they're too fucking hot. But I saw a dude on that comment. He's like, "Yeah, my wife won't let us bring the cows in." It's just fucking nature. These animals, if you go back 50 years, there was no fucking heated cat house. No. There was nothing, right? I'm cutting holes in Rubbermaid totes to put straw inside for cats. And I know these motherfuckers aren't going to use this. They're not a fucking one of them are going to do this. I don't know why I'm even fucking with it. These cats have been here it's going to be colder. It's fucking cold every fucking year. So
we just have a lot of cats, and it makes my heart happy that we're going to have houses for them if they choose. You know
where these cats are going to be? We were back there grabbing some fuel cans. We just filled up some diesel to move around, and all the cats were sitting in the lean-to. You know where they're going to be? They're going to be in that wood against the wall where they always have kittens, or they're going to be under there in some boxes. There's all kinds of shit. The cats are, when you walk back there, the wild cats fucking scatter. It scares the shit out of you. And then under the shipping container, something's burrowed under there, and cats have kittens under there. All of our cats are fixed, but I swear people drop their cats here.
Off. Yeah.
So
I think they do.
These cats are like, they're not our cats having kittens here, but we always end up with more kittens.
Currently, we have all boys. Every cat we have, other than Cody's cat, is male.
And his cat's fixed.
And his cat's fixed now.
So
That yellow one, the nice yellow cat is getting big too. So he must be finding some food, like a lot more food.
well, we feed the shit out of them, man. And I give them.
Yeah.
When I take this, a lot of times in the morning, I'll put the scrap bin up on the 4-wheeler. And when I come out, there's 3 cats sitting there. Just like that cat eats a ton of meat. There is no mice here. I went out last night. I went up and I haven't seen mice in the traps for, I don't know, 3 weeks now probably. I'm like, I wonder if they're still in the hoppers. So when you open the hopper, they scatter and they go through the food and out the bottom. So I've been going in there and I stab them. I literally poke a knife in the middle of them and then throw them and give them to the chickens. No mice last night either. So the cats have eaten all the mice. The cats, we had a bunch of baby chickens a month ago, and we're down to 1. So that's probably cats.
Yeah. Or dog.
Maybe the dog, but the where the chickens were getting out, the dogs couldn't get to. So, so I know I didn't say the 4 things. For me, it would be water. I saw a really cool video. A dude did, I think it was like 20 feet by 50 feet, and he went through and raked out a piece of ground and hand planted wheat seed. Grew the wheat up, went through, cut the wheat, went through, threshed the wheat, and he got a couple of 5-gallon buckets of this, and then he made a loaf of bread. And he wanted to just be like, could you do this? I thought that was really neat. Crops in the ground is probably our next thing, right? Just have soil. Do you have soil? Can you build soil if you don't have soil? If you don't have soil, do you have rock? Jack Spirko's got rock everywhere. Sheet of rock. Those are all like type 1 mistakes, right? Type 1 mistakes are government, things that you can't change. Government, there's a mountain right there, shit like that. Trees. Should you cut trees down? Can you plant trees? Can you grow trees? Going back to day 1, knowing if I could know what I know now and go back 5 years, I would have planted a lot more trees. I would also stop fucking around with these trees we have and be like, I don't want to cut the trees down, but really I need to cut some of these trees down so sunlight gets down to put better trees in place that actually do something. Buy more property than you think you need. Just because you bought a nice little carved out acre with woods on all 3 sides, if you don't own those 3 sides, you could end up with
all kinds of shit.
You could end up with a recycling plant there. You could end up with somebody cut all your shit down. Now all of a sudden that stuff that was growing that was partially shaded, now it's just cooked all the time. Like you have no control over what you don't own. So
one thing we always talk about how like every year there's always going to be the end of the world and then nothing's happened yet.
Yes.
Something that people tend to not think about is while the end of the world hasn't happened yet, do you want to be 100 miles away from a gas station or a hospital? So while you're looking at land, I mean, do you want to be that far out there until the world ends, you know?
And that changes too. Like, what medications do you rely on to live? I don't take anything that I have to have. I take a lot of shit by choice, but I don't have to have it, right? There's nothing that keeps me alive outside of me. So
and me, I keep him alive.
That would be, a lot to think about. Our hospital is all but closed down here. If you need some wound closure, that's fine.
Yeah, it's like a first aid station.
But if you get in an accident here, you're on a helicopter or an ambulance ride. If I truly injured myself, I would get in the truck and we would just drive to a real fucking hospital. Max's path. I wound up going with the generator recommended by Jody and Evan. My plan is to run it in my shed. Currently, it's set up under my workbench. I'm going to run the exhaust out through the side of it and run the cords. Yes, I spoke to Max about this. He bought like a contractor job site generator. It's 9,000 watts. Awesome. It's going to be fucking retarded loud. I would absolutely not fucking do that if I was any one of you. I don't know why they went with that. If you're going to have one generator, because you bought this big ass generator, you ain't running all your shit off of that generator. I don't know why people do that. I would rather have, and I have fucking giant generators. Jeff has giant fucking generators, like bolted to trailers. We don't use that shit because there's not a prolonged place where I'm going to store meat. And typically, if the power goes out here, it's going to go out in the next couple days. I have 1 degree temperature. I don't have to run a freezer. I can take that shit and put it right out in the fucking snow. I can put it in boxes or totes and set it right outside if I have to. With that said, your wife can't move that generator. Your kids can't move that generator. When you, like, we ran the entire fucking house and had 2 or 3 extra people staying there in Cedar Lakes when the power was out for 10 days. We ran the freezer and the refrigerator and the entertainment center and the window AC units. We ran all of that shit off of a 1000 Honda generator, and those are movable, and the 2000s are movable. People get these big, huge things, and I don't know, maybe you guys are going to grid tie that thing and you've got a transfer switch and it's just going to energize the house. But when the power goes out, you're not going to use all the shit in your house. Like my house is in this building here. I have 8 circuit breaker boxes in here, like huge. I have a fucking, my in feed is, you can't hardly put your hands around it. But we're not going to turn all that shit on. We have an apartment upstairs. We're going to use like 4 or 5 circuits when employees aren't coming to work, right? I don't have to have all that shit on. So as long as you're happy with your purchase, then that's all that matters, right? What knife do I get? The one that you fucking want. I don't care. As long as it works. I would say plug it in and try it, because you're going to be, you live in a housing community, like you have a townhome or a condo, I think you said. I mean, I think I saw the pictures of it. There's not a fucking person within 2 blocks, 3 blocks surrounding every direction of you that's not going to know that motherfucker's running. Like, they are, like, a job site generator is fucking loud. And you could get a Predator, like the Predators are getting really good reviews. It's in an attenuated housing. It's a bigger unit. You couldn't have got 9. I think you could have got, I think they do have a 9000 Predator. I think it's even a multi-fuel from Harbor Freight. Those things are getting incredible reviews, and they're not even expensive. But the thing with one generator, when you buy a big generator, and this isn't Max. Max is going to, no matter what happens, Max is going to be fine. But for the normal person, when you're going to buy a 10,000 watt generator, you can buy 3 2,000 watt generators and just put them where you need them to run what you need to run.
That's what I was going to say, because there's something to say about having a spare also.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want just one, why not get 3 smaller ones so you have some extras? Yeah,
and if you do that, you need to run that shit, test that shit, know that the cord hasn't been chewed fucking by a mouse or some shit hasn't.
Make sure you put oil in it.
Like, we're staging everything right now. And I really feel like this is all a waste of fucking time, because it always is, right? But last year we did get some ice and shit, and the 4-wheelers got a sheet of ice on them, and you couldn't. I always pull the keys out when we leave, so I couldn't put the key in the fucking ignition because it was frozen, right? Well, you can put a little torch there and gently, brush across it with the flame, and it'll melt it. But now we do put everything in the garage, right?
What if you just poured water over it?
It would freeze more. It would make it, yeah. You probably could, warm water. I mean, there were many days when we pulled up to the shop here and the locks were frozen.
Mm-hmm.
So you just hold it in your hand and breathe into it, and a couple minutes it's unfrozen enough that you can put the key in. But so we're staging all the 4-wheelers. Well, of course, one of the fucking 4-wheelers doesn't start. We just had it worked on. It had some old gas in it. Neil took it all, dumped all the gas out, got it running, brought it back, and he's like, "Hey, I just put a little cup of gas in it of my fuel." We ran it and it ran out. Well, we never tested it. Well, now the motherfucker won't start. We put fuel in it. We know the fuel's good. So there's an issue. We don't know what the issue is. So we always have something that doesn't work because we didn't bother to test it when times were good. So we're staging all the 4-wheelers in out of the weather. Everything's filled up. We're topping the skid steer up. Because if we do have ice, like if the gravel freezes or whatever. Montana got out of here once fine and then came back and she couldn't get up the driveway. Well, with a skid steer, all we got to do is drive over it, and it'll crush the gravel back up. The ice will be broken. Like, we're just pre-planning everything. Yeah. I went through this morning and made sure all the feed bags and all the trash and all those Rubbermaid trash cans out there, they were all full. Like, I had some partials. I put a brand new bag, took the old bag, put it in there. I took all the empty bags and put them over the rabbit cages with some weight, tucked them down. Like, last year and the year before, we put all kinds of straw in with the rabbits and did all kinds of shit. You know what we did? the rabbit shit all over it. They didn't bed in it, and it became fucking concrete. And it took us 3 days of taking all those cages out and pressure washing them a month later to clean all that it literally, the piss and the shit with the straw, it becomes a fucking sheet of concrete, and it's molded in around the wires now. And all we did is we filled up the nest boxes with it. Like, they made they kicked all that shit right out of the fucking nest boxes. So I'll bet I have 10 nest boxes with babies. I had babies last night too. And if you have a good mother, she's going to pull hair, and that hair is going to stay lofty. And as those bunnies get bigger, that loft is going to come out. So you're going to feel bad for them, and you're going to put some other material in there, and they're just going to fucking kick it all out of there. So I'm not doing any of that shit this year. I just took all the feed bags, put them over the top where the snow kind of blows in if it's snowing. It's about keeping them dry, and that's all I'm doing. And if we lose some, we fucking lose some. Those were the weak ones, and we don't want those genetics. And I know, like, I was just talking to Nicole, and she's like, she sent me a picture. She put rabbit cages in her mud room inside the house. I don't want those fucking, if those rabbits can't survive outside, I do not want those genetics. And I have so many rabbits right now, it's not going to affect anything we're doing. Like, I'm literally feeding I just keep growing these and breeding them and producing meat. We have more meat than we can even feed to the dogs right now. We don't need it. The freezers are completely full.
We have one that still needs to be plugged in.
I have a brand new empty freezer.
It's like the biggest stand-up freezer we could find. It's like 25 cubic feet or some crazy shit.
I bought it literally to kill off all these Cornish cross chickens.
Yeah.
And fill the freezer up and feed the dogs. But I've just been killing one every few days and just feeding it to the dogs. Yeah. I need a sword. I need you to throw me the chicken, and I will just hit it with the sword in midair after it's dead. But I mean, we'll just cut it in half. I need a ninja sword.
Gonna have to do that.
So
better get some sharpening stones.
No, I don't want to do that. Somebody else is going to sharpen it.
One thing, and I know, like, it's gonna get cold for sure.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that the biggest misinformation arm on the internet is the weather.
Oh yeah.
I've seen about 20 different.
I don't think it's even misinformation. It's the weather guessers.
They just don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
They literally just don't know.
Exactly. And
they're just guessing.
People are panicking because, like, one person is like, "Oh, it's going to get to be 2 degrees," and then somebody else is, "Oh, it's going to be -20," and it's like, let's just say it's going to be cold.
Well, like Rosie was, Rosie was like, "Hey, Rosie was like, hey, I have an appointment in Clarksville tomorrow. I won't be here." I go, "You're not getting to Clarksville tomorrow. You're not." She's like, "Really?" I go, "Where'd you used to live?" She goes, "New York." I go, "You're going to be fine." Like, it's only people from California coming here that have a problem, right? And they're like, and then you do risk higher, chance of accidents and black ice. The question is, like, do you need to, and versus are you going to, So we don't ever stay in because it's iced or snowing.
And if you're prepared, which most of the people who are watching are, you can stay home for a few days and be just fine.
Right. Like, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, do you want to not work tomorrow?" And they're gonna want to work.
Yeah.
But I can't be the asshole. It's like, you have to be here.
Yeah.
And the people, if you tell them, if they want to work and you're like, "Well, we're not working tomorrow," they ain't gonna stay home anyways. They're gonna they're gonna get in a worse accident.
Yeah, that's a problem for somebody who has employees. Like, if you give them like a Friday holiday off, and then something happens to them, now you're out an employee because your generosity.
Yeah, it's not that, but I mean, we'll let them choose what they want to do.
Yeah, it's different for you, but I'm thinking, like, like even like a Walmart or something like that hires a bunch of kids, or like, let's say like a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
They have a large potential of not having any employees on a Monday.
So Walmart, we went to Walmart last night, and I had 4 like Rubbermaid totes stacked up.
So mad.
And we got them. Boom, 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 boom. Checkout page. She's like, "Can I check your totes?" She looks in, starts pulling them. I go, "You fucking kidding me?" I go, "I'm the one you chose. I'm the guy that you think is fucking stealing something from Walmart." She goes, "Well, we have to." I go, "I know for a fact you don't fucking have to. This is at your discretion." So I pulled them apart. I go, "You fucking happy now?" She goes, "Well, we just have to." I go, "You go tell your fucking boss, if you had a motherfucker here doing this job, you wouldn't have to fucking check them because they'd have fucking done it. That is the last fucking time." I told Amanda, I go, "That's the last, you're going to have the fucking police here." I go, "This is the last fucking time. You can chase me out. You can come catch me at my fucking house. I paid for these."
Yep.
I am not fucking stopping at your fucking door one more fucking time.
I normally don't, but now we have a Walmart grocery store that's right down the street from the house, so I'm there way more often than I'd be at a regular Walmart.
Yeah.
So what I do is I'll hand them the receipt and keep going.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, "Here, Kate, take your receipt." Like, you're the one that wants it. You deal with it.
Yeah.
Now,
Right,
You know?
yeah.
And they don't know what to do. I just keep going.
So during COVID, like we went to the Paris Walmart, and I was totally oblivious. I didn't even realize it. But they had somebody standing there checking receipts, and I just walked right past, and he goes, "You know, they were standing there asking for your receipt, right?" And I was like, "Oh fucking well."
Well, we also went to the Paris Walmart, and they had 3 fucking police
yeah.
officers. There was a huge chick in there, all in tactical gear, like black body armor, fucking mag pouches and shit. Fucking insane at fucking Walmart. It made it weird.
Well, but that goes back to, like, you know, if you don't say anything, nobody's gonna.
Right.
You know, like the people who have problems with not, you know, like if you don't just walk past them. If you stop to argue with them, that becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
But you could just walk past them and they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, you're
Right.
welcome to fucking come chase me.
Well, and the thing of it is like Walmart employees are strictly prohibited from accosting you or chasing you or even asking you if you're stealing.
Yeah.
Like they are not allowed. That is immediate termination.
until you guys fucking stand up to this is only going to get worse.
I have short legs. You can chase me.